Well, good morning and welcome to Morning Gospel Fuel with Mr. G. It is Saturday, October 30th, the feast day of Saint Gerard of Potenza. He was around during the late um, 1000s. Is that a thing? Early 1100s. He died in the year 1118 at an old age of natural causes, but he was around, I believe, during the Crusades, and he's also known as Gerard La Porta. But he was around during the Crusades. He's a saint, and he was a bishop of Potenza in Italy. But I couldn't find out what he's the patron saint of. Probably of Potenza, Italy, but I don't want to assume. But it is somebody else's feast day today. But Gerard of Potenza doesn't get much attention because I've never heard of him. So that means I figured I better talk about him. So anyway, today's gospel is from Luke chapter 4, verses 1 and then 7 through 11. Let's begin in the name of the Father, Son, and Spirit. Amen. On a Sabbath, he went to dine at the home of one of the leading Pharisees, and the people there were observing him carefully. He told a parable to those who had been invited, noticing how they were choosing the places of honor at the table. When you are invited by someone to a wedding banquet, do not recline at table in the place of honor. A more distinguished guest than you may have been invited by him, and the host who invited both of you may approach you and say, "Give your place to this man," and then you would proceed with embarrassment to take the lowest place. Rather, when you are invited, go and take the lowest place so that when the host comes to you, he may say, "My friend, move up to a higher position." Then you will enjoy the esteem of your companions at the table. For everyone who exalts himself will be humbled, but the one who humbles himself will be exalted. It's a good one. So we got this parable here. And you notice something that just came up before I read the reflection. While I was reading this, it says, "Do not recline at a table in the place of honor. A more distinguished guest than you may have been invited by him." So that makes me think of that pertains to everybody. A more distinguished guest than you. So even if somebody's more distinguished than you, then they too should not sit down. Then the next higher person, they too shall not sit down. So it's like this constant invitation to humility, where nobody is really worthy to be at that highest seat of the highest banquet, because Jesus is talking about the heavenly banquet that we can only attain through God's mercy. They kind of give us that thing to strive for, and keep going higher and higher and higher. Then, of course, he says, just take the lowest place, be humble, and then you will, by that virtue, will be raised higher. So let's see what the reflection says today in the Word Among Us. It says, take the lowest placed. Why would Jesus tell his fellow guests not to seek places of honor? Maybe we can find an answer by looking at what kind of guest he was in other situations. Jesus didn't seek out prestigious invitations. Yes, he ate with religious leaders as he did in today's reading, but he also happily dined with the outcast of his day, tax collectors and sinners. He ate with Zacchaeus, a notorious tax collector, even when the crowd protested. He accepted anyone who came to him. In the house of Simon the Pharisee, he welcomed a sinful woman whose tears fell on his feet. Not only did he forgive her, but he also praised her faith and used her example to teach his wealthy host. And of course, the most telling example was the way Jesus behaved at his final meal with his friends. He was fully aware that his authority came from God and that he would be returning to God. So, taking the role of a servant, he rose from supper and began to wash the disciples' feet. Jesus knew he was God's beloved Son. Secure in that knowledge, he didn't feel the need to grasp for honor. Rather, he chose to become the last of all and the servant of all. He loved us so much that he willingly and eagerly washed our feet when he shed his blood for us on the cross. We too can be secure in our position as beloved children of God. That confidence can enable us to seek out the lowest place instead of grasping for recognition and honor. It might mean entering a room full of people ready to connect with the one who seems most alone or most out of place. Or it might mean letting someone else have the spotlight for a job well done instead of seeking the credit ourselves. It could mean having the humility to listen attentively to someone, knowing that we can learn from each one of God's children. Jesus, thank you for showing me how to take the lowest place. There it is. That's the challenge. Be humble. God bless. Keep it real. And go Buckeyes today. In the Father, Son, and Spirit, amen.